Yep, you're all good.
So Jim, my name is Myra, and I don't know you
Right.
at all. I'm new to Guelph, to the theater, and I'm just having a wonderful time. And this is a great way for me to understand a little bit about how the theater works. You know, the theater is the people, right?
Right.
As far as I'm concerned. So why don't we start by asking you to tell us just a little bit about yourself and about your family. And you tell me whatever you want, and if you don't want to tell me stuff, you say, I'm not talking about that. Okay?
So hi, I'm Jim Hoare. I'm set builder here at Guelph Little Theatre. Got my start back in 2006, actually with Royal City Music Productions, and then 2007 the director sort of came over and was doing a show here at GLT, so I got the introduction to the GLT world. I love the facility, the fact that we have a workshop and a rehearsal hall and the main stage. It's a great place to work. My dad is a carpenter, but I was an IT tech at the University of Guelph, right? So I had no formal theater background, but was quite handy with tools, right? So
Tools,
right. So I had a great mentor, Paul Briggs. He had done like 5 shows in 1 year, was getting a little burnt out. He happened to be in a computer tech at the University of Guelph as well, so I got to introduced to him and kind of said, I know you. And it was an interesting beginning, right? And he's still, I consider my mentor even today. With our next show, there's some technical aspects of it that I've asked him to kind of consult with, right? He's busy off doing other things now. He's done a couple set design builds here in the last season, but mainly it's me doing set builds.
I'm going to take you back to something you said earlier. You talked about how you're an IT guy and how your mentor is an IT guy as well. And I'm really interested in the connection.
Well,
in
yeah,
your mind.
we don't really talk that much about computer stuff. He was, I mean, in the old days, a mainframe guy. I was IT tech in an academic department. So I did like essentially desktop support for that, right?
So what about the thinking that goes into like the desktop support, for example? Now I'm making a big assumption here. I've met some desktop people in my time. You know, you look at a problem, you try to figure out what the problem is, and then you try to fix it.
Yeah.
Is there a connection between that thought process and the thought process you go through when you build a set?
Well, definitely there's a visualization of kind of, sometimes the director has a concept in mind and to kind of talk it through and kind of get it to what I can visualize and then come up with ideas. You have to be flexible for sure on doing stuff. The director supposedly is always right. So you may not end up with your solution on the stage, but I've learned over the years it's, you know, as long as it works, go with it, right? We have a lot of volunteers with other ideas as well. Sometimes we get proper set designers and phenomenal set painters that can just take a plain piece of wood and make it into a fireplace kind of thing, you know. So it's knowing that craft is behind me when I do a set build is kind of an interesting world around here.
If you had to sort of pinpoint the thing that attracts you to building the set, maybe the conceptual thing in your head or the physical thing, you mentioned your dad was a carpenter, maybe there's something there. What is it that...
Well, I mean, after the computer world, it was being physical again, right? Being creative. So it helped kind of the burnout of the computer world, right? So that's how I got started. Nowadays, I look back and I say, how did I manage to work full-time doing computers and doing theater stuff? And I've got all sorts of other interests out there as well, right? So it was kind of quite the juggling act.
So what is it about doing the sets that feeds you to
Well,
be able to do all that
at
other
the
stuff?
end, usually I'm there for rehearsals. We build on the layers of set. Sometimes it's, a piece of tape on the floor
Yeah.
in the rehearsal hall. That's going to be a wall, right?
Right.
Here's your doorway. Here's going to be a window. So going through that process with the actors and the directors, right, is kind of and then eventually, boom, there's a wall. And oh, there's the door. And oh, now it's got painted. It takes on a whole different look, right? So adding those layers, and then finally seeing an audience watching the show, right, and getting their reaction. And then, somewhere down the road you strike the set, right?
Yeah.
So you have to put it all away. So it's there for like a month, and then it has to disappear, right? So you have to build it safe for everybody to work with and functional, but it's a temporary kind of thing. It's not like building a house that has to last for 20, 50 years. Kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. So when you're working with the director and you're imagining the set, what is your role versus the role of the director versus the role? I don't know if you've got the acting crew on as well.
Well, acting, no, but typically somewhere in between there's a set designer and even a set painter. Sometimes those are two different people, right? And then there's set decor always, right? So you've got a team of me building. Sometimes I have to modify a build. Right now we're going through this with this latest show, that the director's giving me a sketch of the set, right, a box set. And now it's the set decor person, set design person says, oh, there's just these blank walls sitting here. Why can't we put a bookcase in instead, right? So we can put all sorts of knickknacks and stuff on the shelf. So I'm saying, yeah, that's great. So it's an interaction. The director may not have that vision, right? But now I've got somebody else involved that has more of a set decor interior design. We go with it, right?
How much? This is a question like I don't know the answer to this question. I don't know the answer to most of the questions I've been asking it because how much okay, do you? This is the better way to phrase the question. Do you look at the script as a beginning?
Sometimes the script will have notes
Yeah.
of the playwright that they have a vision on what the set should look like, which helps a lot. Sometimes even though the director of the current show will say, no, I don't want it that way, I need it this way, which is fine. If they've got a clear vision, that's the one that's putting on. Sometimes we have to even get permission, right, to kind of change something.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of an interesting process. But a lot of times I will get just the summary from the director or whatever.
You get like a sketch or something?
Hopefully. That's kind of, if I don't, then it's, give me a script and I have to start pouring through it, looking at hopefully the playwright's notes on, exit stage right through the kitchen door kind of thing, right? Well, then I know there needs to be a door over there, right?
I'm going to ask you, and my question is from, all of these questions that I'm asking you are from not knowing.
Right.
Okay, so take it that way. I don't know. What do you think the value of a set versus a play done on a bare stage is? Can you contrast the two for me?
Yeah, well, this last season, we've had that mix
Okay.
of a very abstract set. They had like just a window frame coming in, a plain door frame painted white, a couple tables, chairs, and that was it. There was no walls per se, wrapping around the stage as usual. And then we've gone with the whole, President's Underwear was a full oval office, right? 10-foot high flats, crown moldings, So yeah, whatever the director needs, whatever the play requires, we have to go with it, right?
So I'm speaking from an audience perspective. I'm wondering how much, and I hope this doesn't offend you. If it does, just tell me to just shut up. How much the set actually contributes to my viewing or to my understanding of the play.
Oh yeah. Well, again, it's neat being there with the audience, because sometimes I've had applause when the front curtains open and they get to see the set. Right? They're just blown away with. House of Blue Leaves was one of those that kind of was 2 stories high, you know. And again, it was the set painter that really set it off with the color scheme in that, right? Even a simple Christmas show, the dramatic painting sort of really kind of sets the stage, if you say, you know. But like the one acts that we just finished, you didn't have room for big sets, right? So you put a few key pieces of furniture out there. I had a few fly-ins that come in to help put it in context. And yeah, the acting is more important than the set, right?
I'm just thinking about, okay, I've just come back from Stratford, and I'm just thinking about Shakespeare and how Shakespeare, it was the language, you know?
Yeah, we just finished doing complete works of William Shakespeare, which was a takeoff of it all, right? And initially that was supposed to go on the road for WODL Festival in Leamington, right? So Paul Briggs helped with the set design so it could be knocked down and moved fairly easily, right? And again, had to be functional, had to be safe, but yeah, all the behind the scenes stuff was more important, and the timing of them coming out and doing the lines and everything made that show, right? It wasn't really the set.
It's interesting, isn't it? I guess what it brings us to is a discussion of the range of theater.
Yes.
You know, we've got theater that is language.
Yep.
And we've got theater that is the full experience of people in a set. You know, so I guess my question, I'm gonna come back to. I have to think about this some more. I'm gonna come back to where we started, and you said you had a friend who was you'd worked at another theater group, and then you came to GLT.
Yeah.
What is it about building a set that attracts you and that keeps you? Because I gather you've been here quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, since 2006.
Yeah.
I did a lot with Royal City Music Productions, so we were on Main Stage River Run, out in Cooper's Hall, so there were like 2 shows a year that they were doing. So I did a lot of work there. GLT, I would jump back over and say, okay, you know, they need a set builder. So sometimes I'd be juggling between the 2. Now I live in Fergus. I have done some work with Elora Community Theatre, right? So they're on the stage at Grand Theatre downtown, right? So each one has their challenges, right? I mean, the Main Stage River Run, it's the scale of everything, right? Cooper's Hall, there's really no stage, there's just a floor there, right? The Fergus Grand Theatre, very, very small backstage, so having set pieces that move on and off is a challenge there. GLT is kind of a nice mix of kind of, you know, you've got the wing space, we've got the spacing behind, we've got this phenomenal workshop back here to build stuff. I've actually built things here for Elora.
Wow.
And even RCMBI. We built stuff here to ship out. So
you and I were talking a little bit before the interview, and you were saying you're doing all kinds of things. You were doing other volunteer work, and I'm looking at your face, and with respect, you're not 19.
No.
Can I say that?
So 72, yes.
72.
72 now, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. And so, and the other thing you said was, well, you didn't say it, I got the feeling that you're alone in some ways here. So what would you, how, if you could snap your fingers and pass on your craft, how would you organize that here at
Well,
Chelsea?
yeah, I mean, we've tried several times getting set builders in, right? Marion, that's our volunteer coordinator, is trying really, really hard. She understands. I'm kind of on the edge of getting burnt out. Not having a set designer would be step one.
Yeah.
That we could rely on. In the past, we had 2 or 3 that were phenomenal set painters. One was really, really good at reading a script and coming up with a design, but their life has changed and have moved on. Getting younger set builders in is difficult right now. We've tried a few. I mean, I've got a few helpers I can call on, but they're a lot of times working, or they've got too old and aren't functional at doing the stuff, right? So it's kind of a in between right now. Struggle trying to find replacements.
So is there anybody in Guelph? I mean, like I said when we started, I'm new to Guelph. I don't know. Is there anybody in Guelph or any organization in Guelph that we could partner with, or is it as simple as an ad in the paper, or does it need money?
I don't know. It's finding that special someone.
Yeah.
I mean, we're volunteers,
Yeah.
so you can't offer a salary for set builders, right?
Yeah.
So trying to pull in somebody from, say, Drayton Theater Group or whatever isn't going to happen, right? I mean, they're going to want to do this thing, right? And so you have to almost have a passion for theater stuff to get involved, right?
I understand, and I don't know this, but I understand that there is a theater program at the university.
Yes.
So good, I got that.
I mean, we've got a group coming in, Theater Unmade, that is mainly made up of university students, right? And last year we did the incredible amateur Dracula, right? So they had a vision of their set. They really needed GLT resources for the set pieces, but they also needed my expertise in how all this stuff was going to work, and there was a lot of special effects that they had no idea how it was going to come about. It turned out to be a phenomenal show, and they were very grateful for my efforts, right? But as far as pulling people in to help out with other shows, didn't happen.
Is there there's a theater program at Guelph, isn't there? And does that have, I'm asking because I don't know, does that have specialties in,
Set building
or anything like that?
Now, Sheridan, maybe. Our lighting people have come through that program.
Okay.
So we're in great shape for lighting people, younger people coming in. Sound, Dennis is been mentoring younger people for hanging, sorry, not hanging, but designing the audio for shows. The One Acts was a good example of having 4 short shows, but they still needed intro music and sound effects and everything. So finding those people for those groups is ongoing, right?
So what do you think it is about like I said, I'm new to Guelph. I only came a year ago, and I've been kind of busy with some other things. So, but we've got this city, and I see it geographically. Toronto's here, London's here, right? Sort of, Kitchener, Cambridge is here, and I wonder, is it a question of demographics? Are the people just not here, or are they too busy?
I don't know the background. There was another set builder between when I first started.
Yeah.
he came on board. Unfortunately, we didn't get along, and I left for a bit, right? And then sort of he just messed up enough times that he left, and so I got called back, right? So it's finding the right person to step in, right? It's hard. I mean, you got KW Little Theater close by, the Galt Theater. There's the theater group up in Hillsburg that does phenomenal stuff with their limited space. But there's all these little cliques. Same as Elora Community Theater, right? And when I helped out, there was kind of just a small group that kind of kept things moving along, right? So finding that fit of people that kind of work together is we haven't found that replacement here at Guelph.
How would you do it?
I don't know. Not being a full theater person,
Yeah.
I don't have those connections with other groups, right? Sort of, as I say, I've helped out in the past with set building with the other groups, but there's always usually something that isn't quite right. So Guelph now is not bad, but not having that full theater background, me doing set design, I'm very limited in that kind of creativity. You know, I can look at something and say, oh yeah, that will work, but coming up with the concepts from just reading a script, no, that's not me.
The reason I'm asking the questions, we all bring our past selves,
Yeah.
right, to our present, and my career was as a human resource planner. So I look at and I think, well, there's got to be some way to just energize this, and you're the guy to talk to about this. If you weren't doing the set building for GLT, where would you be spending your time, do you think?
Well, right now I'm Habitat for Humanities volunteer, and there is a current construction build, we call it, going on up in Fergus. So I'm spending most of my day times up there, right? So I'm like 9 till 2 or so, doing miscellaneous stuff on the build site, right?
And do you see any kind of a connection between that work for Habitat and the work for
No.
GLT? You don't see it, eh?
Totally. I mean, again, for the Habitat stuff, there's a site supervisor in place. He has my to-do list. Usually he'll be the one setting priorities.
Okay.
Sometimes I can jump in and say, well, I think we should be doing it this way. And he goes with that, or he'll say, no, we need to do it this way because, and we'll have reasons, right?
So your role is more
Sure. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, even like the organizing of the shop and that, right? I'm not a real neat freak, and others are, and they get a little frustrated with the clutter that's in here, right? And I'm saying, okay, well, throwing that one piece of wood, what is that going to accomplish, right?
That's it.
So anyways, yeah, so we have our differences in here of organization for sure.
So tell me about the Habitat for Humanity. I had a friend in Ottawa who worked for Habitat for Humanity, and what a wonderful organization.
Yep.
And I'm just wondering if there are people, you do both, you're comfortable doing both, you different aspects of your personality. I'm just wondering if there are people at that Habitat site who would come with you and work here.
I've actually called on a couple of the closer friends that I work with Habitat to come in and help with stuff. So they'll come in like for some heavy lifting of that, like we're loading in.
Yeah.
But they don't seem to want to come back and just carry on.
It's
right?
not their thing.
They're quite happy to help out. The other passion I have is the Guelph Hiking Trail Club.
Really?
So I do trail maintenance. At one time I was a certified hike leader, so I'd go off leading hikes on some of the trails close to Guelph that we maintain. And again, I've pulled one of those people into actually Habitat.
I see.
that sort of like to work on, just being physical, right? And I said, well, we've got this volunteer group of habitat people, right? And you can come out and, so it's kind of, but never found sort of any of my friends or associates that would want to do theater set building on a permanent basis.
See, this is interesting to me because I look at these different aspects of your life. I look at the Habitat for Humanity, and I look at the trail, and I look at the set build, and what I see is I see a triangle, know, and I just wonder, do you ever, when you're working here, do you ever get ideas about what should happen here? I don't mean the administrative part, I mean actually building a set, from what you see in Habitat or when you're out leading the trail?
No.
You,
No.
It's a complete separation for you.
I mean, trying to solve a problem, sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning, I'll wake up and say, oh yeah, we can do it this way, right? And so I've got some ideas even this afternoon I want to try with this next show that's kind of been banging around, and I've consulted with Paul Briggs actually yesterday to see about, does he think this might work? And so now it's putting those concepts into reality. Right?
I have to ask you a question. This is a question, obviously I don't know anything about set building. I'm sure you figured that out already. Do you, once you've built a set, do you write something that says we did this for this reason and this for this reason? We don't do that.
No.
Do you think?
Everything, each set is unique. Knowing how to create the Oval Office with, setting flats on a curve. Again, Paul sort of showed me how you would screw them together. You don't have to build fancy corner pieces, right? So those concepts of, how those things go together, how you have a doorway, and a lot of times it's important which way the door swings, right? Swinging off stage versus on stage, right versus left. Again, the director sometimes will tell you sort of, I want it so there's this grand entry, so it has to swing on stage, and but you don't, how to set the door, right? So we have set pieces that are door openings, and to be able to be flexible enough to be able to flip a door around in a frame is just one of those theater things.
So are there some general principles then that you have to keep in mind when you're building a set?
Well, again, it has to be safe.
Good.
Right, so when they go to slam that door, you don't want really the whole flat wiggling away, right? So bracing stuff in behind, building your walls around it, sort of that helps support it. There's little tricks that we've learned over the years, right? But as far as kind of a book of theater set building, I don't have such a thing to go refer to.
I'm just thinking, I'm thinking, let's say you win $1 million or 2 million. I mean, we've got inflation, $2 million, and you say, well, I'm going to go travel the world. Bye. And David here decides he's going to be the set builder. He's ever built a set, David?
I don't think so.
Okay, he's never built a set. He comes in, he's got his first, and where does he start? If he had a manual or something.
Well, as I say, there's probably documents out there. Right? There's actually our lighting person, Joanne, just finished a week of set building at Stratford.
Did she?
So there are courses around if I wanted to go and pick up, like there's various, like an intro level and an intermediate level down there, right? So if I felt the need to improve my skill set of set building, that would probably be the place to go. I think I don't know whether Sheridan offers evening type courses or weeks courses to be able to learn the craft better.
I'm thinking of how you would teach the craft once you're off in Bali and you leave
Well, it's
something
kind of the mentorship, right?
that.
There's no kind of here's how you do it,
Uh-huh.
because each set is different, right? I mean, if you've got a nice simple box set, you know, building the flats around, you've got doors, you've got windows, you've got steps maybe. Those are fairly simple. The abstract versions, where you've got just this window frame sitting there, well, how does that window frame kind of help hold up, right? Is it flying in? You've got bracing sort of, and it's all painted out black, and the lighting is going to make it disappear.
Take care of it.
You know, those are things you just kind of work out along the way.
Those are things that you would have to work with the lighting designer, for example, and the director
Yep.
to work out.
Yeah, and especially the director, right, has to have this vision of, you know, no, I just want this plain white window frame. And then it's between me and the lighting people on making that work, right? So whether, again, if it's there all the time, you can get away with, you know, just bracing it on the stage. If it comes in for a particular scene, then we won't have a real fly area at GLT, but there is space up in the catwalk area to bring stuff in. And we just finished doing that with the 1X.
Are there skills, or is there knowledge that you wish every director had, so that they could speak to you in your set building language? Or is that where you've got to be flexible? When
But yeah, very flexible, right? Well, like this next set, right? Knowing, you know, that we need a bookcase, that 4x10 panel is there in your concept that fills the wall, but knowing the set decor people are going to want, that's going to be a very important piece for them, right? So being able to incorporate that sort of in the set, that's kind of what needs to be adjusted.
And is there a discussion at the beginning when okay, so it's decided that this play is going to be done, and this is the director, and we're working about the cast, and we're getting everybody together. Is there a discussion at the very beginning that talks about, well, okay, this is what the set is kind of going to look like, and this is why it's there, or does that kind of evolve?
Sometimes they've got a clear vision. I mean, yeah, sometimes it's right in the script, right?
Yeah.
So boom, there it is.
Yeah.
Right? Other times it's not, and the director realizes eventually the actors are going to need blocking, it's called,
Yeah.
right? So they need to know their movement. So they need to know where that doorway is, right? For making their entrances and exits. So the next show, Alice in Wonderland, is more abstract, but they still need to know there's going to be these particular set pieces in these particular positions, right? So that one's going to be a bit more challenge, right? Knowing even where does that moving set piece live off stage is becoming an issue, that they've got these grand visions of what's needed on stage, but how does it all fit off stage, right, is going to be something that we need to work out.
See, that's it. Think about what's going on off stage.
Yeah.
When I'm watching a production, I'm just watching,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
That's interesting. And is that something that you work out with the director in
Well, yeah,
advance?
I mean, we just went through that with the 1X
Yeah.
on there, right? We had 4 shows, limited space. We didn't have the big wing space of a normal stage. So, yeah, we had like the bed
I saw it when they
coming
brought in the bed.
on the ramp, and we had
Yeah.
to stack a chair on top
Yeah.
of it and other furniture because we didn't have room backstage to put all that stuff.
I
right?
saw that. You know, it's funny. When I came to the show, I didn't really have any idea what to expect. But I guess what I expected was less set
Yes.
because of the nature of the production. So how does, and that's me, I'm just a theater goer, right? I expect less set.
Yep.
So how does the director, or I guess in this case my guess is it's the writer as well of the play, how do they convince the parties that be that no, I need a real bed, I gotta
Oh,
have
yeah,
a bed?
yeah, yeah.
How do they do that?
All of the side table and and all that kind of stuff that really wasn't used
Yeah.
helps set the scene of a bedroom. Right?
Yeah.
The chest of drawers was very, very important, right?
Yes.
And I actually borrowed that from Habitat
Okay.
Restore, right? So I have an arrangement with them that a lot of times we don't have space for that piece after the show.
Right.
So I will be returning that chest of drawers back to the Restore.
Right. Right.
And just let the receiving guys know, oh, I was here a month ago and have borrowed this. So just returning it.
It was
right?
a nice chest of drawers.
So anyways, yeah, it's kind of an interesting discussion when we start building up things on the last show, the ward. In the script, there wasn't all that stuff on the side. There wasn't the window. There wasn't the desk
Right.
written in the script. That was the director's vision to add to the play, right? So our young guy going up the ladder painting in
Yeah.
that wasn't a sidebar in the script,
Oh.
right? So I was surprised when he came to me and said, do we have that window from that last show that we can fly in and I need a ladder? I'm going, well, I didn't read that in the script.
Yeah.
And he says, well, this is my vision. This is what I want to do, right? So it was extra pieces to store away, but it really added to that show in the end.
It did.
So anyway, and the playwright came out the last couple shows and saw what they had done and was just blown away. The first night he saw it, he was just, we had this neat discussion after the show. And it's kind of a neat thing that the director, a young guy, right, really kind of set that show.
It was beautifully done.
Yeah.
It was lovely.
Yeah.
I think we're running out of time. We're running out of time.
15, 20 minutes.
Oh, we got another 15.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm worried about David because he's got.
Having to-
We're good. It's Sunday, yeah.
It's
I
Sunday.
don't have to get back to work or anything like
Okay,
that, so.
no, there's no work. You just got to get back to reading the paper.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay, I'm very interested in, and I'm coming back to something we talked about earlier, in what's next. You know, like all people, at some point, I just want to come to the theater. At some point, I think you're just going to want to come to the theater. So how do we, what do we say to young people? I mean, you know how we're going to use these interviews, right? I mean, you're going to be there, and there's going to be everybody and their dog is going to be in the audience, and you're going to be able to say, come and be a set designer. How are you going to say it?
Well,
Now's your chance.
it's coming to a show and appreciating the set is the beginning. You know, if I go off to Shaw Festival, that's kind of where I really started enjoying kind of the creativity of like professional done sets. Right? But knowing that my mentor, Paul Briggs, kind of says, doing a set on the cheap, right? You've got these grand visions of how these professional theater groups do it. Well, how can I make that work at a low budget and with the limited space that we have on stage, right? It's just, over the years, you just get to know all the little tricks, right? As I say, there's no book that I'm aware of that you can kind of go and read and say, okay, well, how do I do a circular revolve and da-da-da-da, right?
Yeah.
There might be something out there, but anyways.
What is it that attracts you, that keeps you coming back? It's obviously not the money. What do you keep coming back? Why? Why do you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the commitment, the dedication, and then to see the final product at the end, right? You're sitting there closing show and see the audience reaction and kind of how it's all come together, all the layers, right? Kind of the set, the raw pieces of wood, then they get painted, and then the actors are using a doorway or a window appropriately. Costumes, all that kind of stuff all coming together. Lighting sometimes is very dramatic. So seeing the whole show, and not one person may not have the total vision of how that show's going to turn out, right? But it's a collaboration of the lighting people, the sound people, set painting, set decor, the director, blocking actors appropriately, getting their lines just to work perfect. Like the Shakespeare show was just one of those things that the set really wasn't important, but I really enjoyed that show, right? And how the timing of everything, right? So yeah, and for me, have I walked away from a show? Yes. There's been some issues with set designer making last minute changes, and I'm saying no. This is the show opens in 2 days.
Yeah.
We've got to go with your plan A. You can't be making a plan C at this point. Right? So I try not to kind of get in that frame of mind, but sometimes you have to kind of put your foot down, right?
Have you got, you've been doing this for a while, have you got one show that you look back on and go, man, that was it? That was the thing?
Well, again, sort of with Paul Briggs being my mentor, there was initial days that I was his helper, and he had phenomenal visions and set design stuff, right? So some of his shows, I call it his shows because he designed it, were unbelievable, right? I had one, The House of Blue Leaves, that I pretty well, 100% kind of did the design and build, and the painter made the difference, right? So it was a case of, back before midnight, we won WODL award for set.
Wow.
So the amount of special effects, again, it was the lighting and all that kind of stuff really made that set work properly, right?
What did the lighting do to the set?
Well, a lot of the stuff was done at nighttime, right? So having lights coming through a window properly, the zone stuff of, she ends up, a door opens and there she is in a noose hanging. There was a lot of special effects, a lot of, things that just went right on that show. Right?
If you were to say to somebody, people out there, hey, come and do this with me, how do you think you might sell it? How do you think you might?
You've got to start off simple, right?
Yeah.
You can't, that was kind of my beginnings with Royal City Music Productions back 2006. It was Sound of Music on the main stage of River Run.
Oh my.
If I had been given the total set design, I probably would have walked away,
Yeah.
right? But the director and Paul Briggs were really, really good in just giving me little pieces to work on at a time, right? So they didn't overwhelm me with the whole thing. They just said, okay, tonight we're going to work on the set of stairs. They need a little bit of modifying, right? Oh, we've got the Abbey piece that's there, but it needs a little bit more, right? Oh, we need to build this bed so it rolls in and has, canopy and everything on it, right? So that show was kind of my introduction to theater.
Wow.
And when I saw it on stage, and then we had to build the Alps, of course.
Of course.
And that was kind of an interesting process for sure.
How do you build
It
the
was a case of we knew kind of the scale on the main stage, and in the end we got it a little bit off, so we had to add 4 feet to the bottom of it to make it look appropriate. But anyway, it was a case that they had an arch piece left over from Joseph the Technicolor Greencoat.
Okay.
So the director, set designer, had a vision of adding a frame to that. So that would be the base of it.
Right.
She would take muslin, we actually were using the Guelph Little Theatre stage, laid out this muslin, and she just took chalk and said, here's the peaks of the Alps. Now can you build a frame in behind that to match that, so it can attach to that arch, but be able to live on stage, right?
Wow.
And it had to be built so securely that it actually flew out at River Run. So it was supported for the show by lines,
Yeah.
but when we loaded it in, there was actually another rental before the show. So the River Run people said, this needs to go up into that space so it can't bend or anything
Right.
as we lift it out. Right?
Right.
So that was quite the challenge for me, and sort of, you know, working with River Run people and Paul Briggs, knowing how to stiffen this Alps piece.
How did you do it?
Well, I mean, the term is whalers, right? So there's bracing that goes in behind. So the piece ended up being 3 sections that got literally bolted together once we got it on the main stage.
Yeah.
So I built this thing as 3 separate pieces, and we never had the space in the build area to put it all together, right? We just had to know that this was at this height, and the center section was going to fit in between here, and then the final section was, and then we used a boat trailer to get it from the build space to River Run, lay it down on the floor, bolt it all together, and then they started adding the lines and pulled it up, and then we had to add the muslin right to it, right?
And hopefully it does.
And then it just kept going up and up and up as we stapled it on, and
And was it, did it stay in place for the whole production, or did you
yes,
have to
yeah.
move
Once we had the show going, rehearsal, like, it was limited to 3 or 4 days. But as I say, it was a surprise to me that this thing had to fly out because there was a band or whatever coming in that weekend, right?
That's amazing.
So yeah, it was quite the facility, right? To have no theater experience to be on the main stage of River Run. Right?
That's a great story. What about here? What's your favorite set here that you built?
Well, I mean, again, Paul Briggs, we had 2 major ones. Noise is Off, where the entire set, which was the width of the stage, rotated.
Okay.
Right? So the audience got to see the antics going on backstage
Okay.
for one of the acts,
Sure.
right? And then the thing rotated around again, so you got to see the normal living room kind of front doors, all that kind of stuff
Right.
working, right? And then the other one was Drowsy Chaperone, that we actually had a biplane in the set, 2 wings, propeller, fuselage, all the rest of it on stage. For most of the show, the biplane wings were part of the kitchen counter,
Oh my God.
right? The fuselage, the propeller, sat inside our fridge in the center of the stage, right? So it was this final dream sequence that this guy's dreaming about this plane, and all the people came together, right? So it kind of, all of a sudden, the fridge door opens up and the plane starts pushing out, and the wings, the lower one was the countertop of the kitchen, and then the upper one was just underneath the upper cabinets. All came out. We had a cordless electric drill to drive the prop.
Oh my God.
So the guy flipped a switch inside, and the prop started turning, and everybody came out and kind of leaned on the wings. And there was this big production at the end. We had a live orchestra sitting up in the 2nd level that kind of was just phenomenal.
But that was all done here.
Yeah.
And the trailer,
And
the
well,
one with
I
the
mean,
trailer
that was-
coming on?
That was one of my kind of visions, right? We had actually, bare bones, we had a house trailer that was important.
The real,
Okay.
the whole thing.
And we had, we put the call in, right?
Yeah.
We were looking for this house, but it had to be able to fit through the back doors of the stage.
Okay, so it
Right.
had to scrunch.
So it needed to be, we really didn't know whether we could find a hard top tent trailer that
Yeah.
could fit or just the old fashioned one, right? It really didn't matter. Anyway, it turned out to be, once we put it out on Facebook, one of our GLT actors saw it and said, oh, my parents have one, right?
Yeah.
And we'll be finished kind of with it in a couple weeks and kind of, I said, well, get me the dimensions and we'll see if it fits. And husband turned out to be an engineer,
Oh my
so he worked out the weight and sort of, how a ramp needed to be built to be able to get it from in here up on stage. So he came in, he had an ATV. So once we got it off his truck into here, he just used an ATV and literally drove it up onto the stage,
Oh my God.
right? So that was fairly recent.
So I'm coming back. So you just put out a call on Facebook and said, does anybody have one of
Yep,
these?
yeah, we started looking on Facebook, the selling place, right?
Yeah.
The problem was gonna be, what do we do with this thing
Yeah,
after
yeah.
this, right? So we really wanted to borrow
Mm-hmm.
something, right? And it had to be functional, right?
Yeah.
They were in and out of it a lot.
Okay.
So it didn't, a lot of them was, the canvas is ripped or whatever,
Yeah.
right? But this one was in perfect shape. And again, the way the set got designed was based on that tent trailer. Which way the door was,
Okay.
where the trailer hitch was, all that kind of stuff was important. So once
Yeah.
we had the trailer, then I could continue building the set around it.
That is fantastic. And at the end, the trailer just went back to the family.
Yep, yeah, the husband came back in with his ramps
Yeah.
and his ATV.
Yeah.
And kind of, we loaded it up on stage and he came down the ramp and out the door. Right?
That's fantastic.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
was one of
And did you give him a little plaque that he could put on his, on
You
his?
got free tickets to come in and see the show for sure.
Well,
right?
what else do you need?
Yeah.
What
right.
else?
I mean, he was so, by the time we had the set done,
Yeah.
they were so impressed on how everything looked on stage.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it just fit in just unbelievable.
That's fantastic. But what a great story. What a great story about impressing or being part of the community.
Well, it's kind of, it was like a meant to be moment
Yeah.
type of thing, right? You
Yeah.
just put out this call and your fingers are crossed, hoping something's going to work out. Right?
Did you have a plan B?
I know.
Okay.
No, again, it was like Facebook Marketplace. We had a couple in mind. We had tried talking to, people that sell trailers and
Yeah.
that, but a lot of the newer stuff was too big.
Yeah,
It-
okay.
It wasn't gonna fit through the doors. Right?
Oh,
So this one, we had 2 inches to spare
Oh my God.
to get it up through the opening.
And that's why you needed the engineer.
Well, he didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
It was funny, when we were loading it in, I actually shot a video of it. He's got his friends kind of spotting him on the
Yeah.
back, right? And he's looking over his left shoulder at the one guy, and that one guy's saying, yeah, go, 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 go. And meanwhile, the guy on the right side we get it up so far, and there's a canopy stuck on the side of the hardtop, right? And it's coming up and it's ready to touch the door opening.
Oh boy.
So all of a sudden, stop, 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 right? And then we look and we see we've got a couple inches on the one side still, right? So he has to back down the ramp a bit and then adjust his ATV so it's coming up slightly over, right? But at the second attempt, boom, up it went.
Okay.
Right?
Meant to be.
Yeah.
Jim loves a challenge.
I can see that. Favorite story. Favorite story, and then I think we have to. Yeah. If you had a bunch of kids around and one of them said, "What's your favorite story about,
Well, I mean, those kinds of things, right? That one was really a lot to do with me, but the Paul Briggs sets, right? Noises Off, Drowsy Chaperone. I mean, there's been several River Run shows that I did, right? But doing stuff here is probably my home theater kind of thing, right? So
yeah. This is your last opportunity to talk in front of the camera. What kind of a message do you want to send us?
we need set builders, we need set designers. That really makes a difference, having that vision between the director and a set builder. You show me a drawing, I can kind of build it, right? But if I don't get that stuff in between, if I don't get the vision, then we're stuck. So to have a successful show, that's a key player in
Jim,
the
you want
production team.
to show your maquette? That'd be kind of cool.
Well, that's, yeah.
Yeah, since you're talking about that, this is another way of doing the design. Here, Jim, yeah, show it.
Well, you have to
Careful.
tell us what it is now and explain it.
See, this is.
So this is, again, Paul Briggs now has graduated to computer modeling, right? But I get kind of this page
Okay,
from the director saying, this is what I think we need, right? It's not to scale.
right,
I'm trying to figure out, A, will it fit on the stage, and B, is it functional, right? So I have this board that's 1/2 inch to the foot scale of the actual stage,
okay,
right? I have these pieces of cardboard that are a 2x10 flat, right? So I can say, okay, well, he needs a wall here, right? So add the wall, right?
Right.
He needs a door opening, right? Versus a full-fledged door. So you just keep adding the pieces, and you hope by the time you're finished, it's still fitting on the stage.
right,
Right? And so you end up adjusting things, and again, with the computer, it's so much easier
Yeah.
to move around, right? But you end up with these chunks of cardboard floating around, hoping that everything is gonna fit, right? And now I can sit here and I can count and say, okay, I need 6 4x10 flats. I need a door flat that swings this way. This is a revolve that starts off as a bar and swings around and becomes the Christmas tree,
look at that,
right?
yeah,
The challenge for this one is it does this revolving during a scene. So it's not between scenes where there's a blackout,
right,
right? So the idea is this guy has modern technology in his house, and he pushes a button, and this thing magically
So you
kind
get
of
to see it.
rotates around, right? So that's my challenge, that I want to start. This show doesn't open up until October,
yeah,
but I want to start now. We have the circular revolve base. We don't have the bar, but I need to kind of get this done and then work out the mechanics of how this thing is going to revolve without assistant stage managers, ASMs, coming out and actually moving this thing around. Right?
that's amazing. Did they give you a budget to do this?
It's fairly open. Right now, I'm not seeing a lot of expense. The flats, we don't have this many 4x10s.
Okay,
So again, Paul Briggs does have access to them. So the call will be out, hey, Paul, I need, 6 4x10s. Can I have them from September to the end of October?
right,
When he was here the other day, he's pretty sure he can get his hands on them. The 2x10s are a bit more of a challenge. We may have to build some of those here on site. But that's, again, budget-wise, the price of 1x3 pine these days though is pretty expensive.
It's expensive,
right?
isn't it? Yeah.
It may grow. But it's one of those things that will we use a 2x10 flat for another show? It's hard to say, right? But to make this set work, we're gonna have to build them if we can't borrow them.
If there is a resource issue, if for some reason you can't get the money for the pine, have you got a plan B?
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, the pine is the old way of building things.
Yes.
I mean, 3/4 inch plywood, they're a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
But just getting it on the table saw and ripping it down into the 2 3/4, whatever, so it matches the rest of the flats. The what we call the skins, the floor underlay plywood, is a must.
Yeah.
Right. And again, the price of that is up there. But you know, it's most of the stuff we have available, so we can work with it.
Why do you do it this way and not on the computer?
I don't have the computer skills.
Okay.
Google SketchUp. I mean, Paul's a master at it. He can just,
Yeah.
and he has a 4x10 piece sort of in his inventory
Okay.
on Google SketchUp,
Right,
so he can
okay.
kind of grab that piece and just stick it in place and put another one in place and kind of rotate it around so you can look from above and look sideways at it.
That's where the
He
collaboration
knows all
comes
the
in.
buttons to push to make it all work. For me, this is the way I was brought up. The other set designer, Barb Bryce, does it this way. Right? So she was the one that kind of showed me initially this, you know, the concept of building a maquette. It's called. right?
On the cat, yeah.
And I think that for the actors and the director, this kind of works. They don't always have access to the computer,
Right.
and they won't know how to rotate it around and whatever.
Right.
So this sitting out here, they can come and say, okay, this. I mean, eventually there's going to be the couches and
Right.
chairs and all
Right.
the rest of it that's
Right.
going to have to end up getting put in. For me, it was just working out where the walls were going to go and how many pieces that I needed.
This
right?
is inspiring.
But eventually, I could, even just little rectangles, this is where the couch is gonna be, and da-da-da-da. But we have the rehearsal hall space, and because we're the first show, I will be able to spike out the floor, right? So add little bits of tape to the floor and say, okay, here's where your wall is, here's where this opening is gonna be, here's where this is gonna be. I'm hoping to have the actual revolve out on the floor, because this is an important piece
Yeah.
for them to be able to get to know sort of how this thing is going to work. The bar, I won't give away the secrets of what the bar is going to be doing, but having the bar available and being able to rotate it around is an important part for the rehearsals.
I'm gonna have to come see this show.
Yeah.
Last words.
We do it because we love it.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you so
Okay.